Welcome back, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to do some of the finer detailing and weathering on one of the recess pits, whatever they're called, bays, something like that. Anyway, really it's just a case of making sure that we've got everything primed up, and then after we've primed it, it's been given a coat of Halford's white. So it's Halford's grey primer for a undercoat, and then a light dusting over with the Halford's primer white, as you can see there. And then my old favourite, canola oil that everybody's using now. Give it a bit of a shake, and I have to excuse the motorbikes going past. And then, not too liberally, but just start adding it to all the details, making sure that it's all getting in the recesses. Okay, I think I've got about 5 or 6 pots of this, so anybody's having any difficulty in getting hold of it, it's me, sorry. As you can see, we're not being any particular about this. It's just a case of getting it all inside. This is before any of the piping greeblies or anything like that has been added, so that we can get everything down underneath without any obstructions, because all that will be added later and then built upon from there. So as you can see, liberally coating all the way around, making sure that everything flows nicely, and so forth. I would have some backing music on, but I don't think you'll like my type of music. Nearly there, so I do apologise if this is a little bit boring, but and then along that line, like so, on that edge, and along that edge. Like I say, make sure that everything that is white has been covered over in one form or another. Any of the big pools of the known oil that you're going to get, it's now you can start, as you spread it out, just start picking it out, moving it about, making sure that everything is covered. Okay, and if there's any excess, just move it over to a different area. As you can see, it starts to then add definition to other parts that you wouldn't normally see. Okay, and then once we've done that, we want to allow that to dry just by leaving that flat. If you leave it at an angle, everything's going to go into one corner, so as long as you're happy that everything is covered, then make sure that's done like that, and then let that thoroughly dry before we then move on to the next part. There we go. Okay. Okay, now that's dry, we're going to start doing some dry brushing, and for that we're going to be using the Vallejo foundation white, as you can see here. So let's get a tiny little pot, give give it a bit of a shake, and we only need a tiny little bit. And get a rag to take most of the paint off. Just put the paint on the tip and then work it into the rag like you can see. Just get most of that off, and then we're just going to start gently going over the raised details. It's not all going to happen all at once. You have to build it up bit by bit. That's what dry brushing is all about. So we're working that in all over. Okay, and then a bit more. Once again. Working it in the areas and the recesses, so it brings out any highlighted details. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it starts to show up bit by bit. Once again, around these areas, top of the pipes, down in the recesses. And just build that detail up bit by bit, and then what we do is we start to use different colours as well. So as you can see, that's starting to build up there. Okay, now here's one that I did earlier, as you can see, with the details there, and we're going to start adding darker colours and a bit of burnt sienna oils, and then that's going to be mixed down just to give it that slight metallic-y, rusty look. Okay, so carry on doing that just to build that up, and then next we're just going to move over in a minute to some darker greys. Okay, next I've got some, what's this one here, dark sea grey. Once again, tiny little bit, and then going to take most of it off with the brush, and then I'm just going to go over on a couple of areas and shadows, which some of the other parts are going to be. Just up and down, just to blend some of that in. Like so. And if you can see that. To get that dirty grime look. Okay, then allow that to dry, and don't worry about these other bits because those bits have already been done here, as you can see. So a little bit of touching up in these areas. It's pipe work just to blend it in, and then next I'm going to be adding a few bits of the oil paints. Next we're going to be giving it a bit of a rusty look to it, and for that I'm going to use some of the burnt sienna. Okay, and all I'm going to do is make a wash, and all I need to do is just put a tiny little dab in there like that, and then some turpentine. Just to add to that, tiny little bit. And turpentine allows it to, once again, drop into any of the recesses, gives it a bit of colour, and at the same time it dries as quick as anything as well, a lot quicker than if you were just using it on its own. Okay, and with that, once again, we're just bathing it all over, and it actually, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it does actually give it a bit of a dirtier, rustier, weathered colour, and you don't want to overdo it. It's just enough so that it sits in the recesses. Okay, like that, so that when it dries it will actually leave a brown substance on there. And the next thing that we do is just dry that off. We get the burnt sienna again, and then with a brush I'm just going to be touching a few areas here and there. And what that does is that just gently just picks out a couple of rust areas. Anything gets too much, we'll just go in and then go over it. So it actually starts to flow. And as you can see there, it starts to look more like rust. Okay, any of that excess, just scoop that up with a brush. Like that, okay. And then just let that flow around, and as you can see, got a nice few little rusty areas there. So once again, let that thoroughly dry, and then we'll start adding all the greeblies, bits and pieces, and doing a bit more dry brushing just to build that detail up. Okay, and there you go. Very simple effect. Now we've added all the other greeblies, or I've added the other greeblies and bits and pieces, so that we can start adding the rest of the detailing. And for that I'm going to be once again adding some more non-oil, and like I said, once again it's a case of building it up layer upon layer to get depth and some of the areas that need to stand out more. So as you can see, just adding them into certain areas. Be liberal, but don't be too liberal with it. So get around there, so it gives it a bit of a shadow. as such. And like anything else, once we've done that, we'll then allow that to dry, and then we'll add some more dry brushing and weathering. Little hole there. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to bring the detail out. Let's do a little bit more here. So these stand out a bit more. A bit more on that one as well. That'll do that for the time being, actually. A bit more. Down and around here. It's knowing when to stop, to be quite honest, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's any right or wrong. It's what you're happy with. It's a bit better. A bit more around here. There we go. I think that looks alright. And then next we'll just start a bit more dry brushing. Once that's dried off, a few more rust spots, different oil stains and splodges. Okay.